Ya-ta-ta-ta! Greezo!
Greezo slid silently through the darkness. Everyone is good at something, and for Greezo, it was sneaking around without being seen or heard. When he was younger, the big ones put out food for him, but now they just put out their trash. Still, Greezo was happy to eat what others didn't want, and with a full belly, he sung his song.
Seasons come and seasons go. Bee-dee-dee-dee, bee-dee-dee-dee. My heart is my heart. Ya-ta-ta-ta. Bee-dee-dee-dee, bee-dee-dee-dee. Oh, what is right? I know is right. Willy-willy, willy-willy. Today and always, always and today. Marching to the night.
Tico ran through the village, banging on every door. When all the doors were open and filled with angry faces, he yelled, "Wise Mother is sick! You need to visit! She has something to tell you!" The baker, who was kinder than most, said gently, "Many of us are sick, Tico. We don't have time. We need to take care of our own." Tico replied, "Wise Mother said her time is short and this might be the last time she speaks with you." The baker put his hand on Tico's shoulder and said in a loud voice, "Wise Mother's guidance has been a blessing to our village. We must go." Greezo was not the only one eating what the big ones didn't want. Cackling crows at the setting and rising sun, raccoons and rats sharing the darkest hours, and possums which looked like him but walked on four legs. None were like Greezo. He could understand the big ones' words and could sense the darkness that sometimes made them sick. He didn't know why he was drawn to the houses where the darkness was strong, but there were more like this every day. Greezo had not always been alone. He had many siblings that came into the world and then went on their way. Greezo was the first and last with his parents and took care of them at the end. He wished some of his family was with him now. So many houses in the village were surrounded by the darkness, and he didn't know where to go. He ran from house to house, making more noise and being less careful than usual. The villagers looked at Wise Mother, small and frail, sitting on her porch. They were scared of getting sick from her, so stood away, but Tico was by her side, as children rarely got sick. Wise Mother could not talk loud enough for the villagers to hear, so she whispered to Tico, who yelled her words. "You have forgotten what is important. Instead of cutting down only the trees you need to build your houses and cook your food, you cut down every tree and stack more wood than you'll ever use. This is how you see everything now, through the eyes of fear, worried you won't have enough. We are not in balance, not with ourselves and not with our world. The little ones cannot live by us if there are no woods for them." "We have no time for this, old woman. Our families are sick because of the little ones," said the blacksmith, who was grumpier than most. Wise Mother leaned into Tico, who then spoke her words. "Your families are sick because you have forgotten what is true. You chase the little ones away because you think they bring sickness. They don't. They can help us. By seeing where the little ones go, we can find out who is sick before they show the signs. We can bring them to the cabins by the woods and take care of them. If we do this early, the sickness will pass." The storekeeper, who was more thoughtful than most, said, "There is a single little one left, and all night he runs from house to house. How can we tell who is sick?" Wise Mother stood up and said quietly, "The little one is anxious because of all the sickness. It needs a partner. Go to the tower and call out in one loud voice. Another will come." The villagers looked at each other. Some had fear in their eyes, but others had hope. As they walked off, Wise Mother whispered to Tico, "You stay. There's much to learn and only a little time to teach you." Greezo woke to the booming sound of all the villagers shouting as one, "Little ones, we are sorry. Please help us." Greezo was happy to hear something besides angry words from the villagers, but he didn't know how to help. He did the only thing he knew and headed out into the village. The darkness was at so many houses it made Greezo dizzy. He decided to sing his song in hopes it would make him feel better, but before he could start, he heard,
Out! 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 Here we go without a doubt.
Lazarus walked from the bushes and said, "I heard the villagers call, so I came. If you like, we can sing together." Greezo did not think his song was as lovely as Lazarus, but started singing. The two songs mixed in a pleasing way. When they finished, it was as if their songs were meant to be sung together. The next evening, the villagers watched from the edge of the woods as Greezo and Lazarus descended into the night. The little ones appeared calm and quietly moved from one house to the next. The villagers had left food out so the little ones no longer had to eat from the trash cans. After the little ones left a house, a villager knocked on the door and said, "Please come to the cabins. We will take care of you." Many months later, Greezo woke to find two small and fuzzy little ones nestled in the burrow. Lazarus had told them they'd soon have babies, and Greezo was excited to hear their songs. At the end of the night, when all four had eaten the villagers' offerings, they headed home and Bosa yelled out in a loud voice,
Can't stop me, so don't even try. Get out of my way, 'cause I'm passing you by. Don't test me, don't push me, 'cause I'm ready to fight. My job is my job. I love the night.
Greezo and Lazarus had never heard a song so forceful. Still, they were smiling as each little one was free to sing their own song in the way they wanted. Next, Simu sang in a quiet voice.
How do we know what to do? Who decides for me and you? It's always dark. Maybe I like the light, but I'll find the courage to go into the night.
The song was so different than Bosa's, but hearing it made Greezo and Lazarus happy. They knew Simu sang from the heart. For many weeks, the four of them went out into the village. The houses were no longer surrounded by sickness, so they went where they pleased. One night, as they started out, Simu said, "My song is not loud like Bosa's, but even when I'm scared, I know what has to be done. I heard the call from another village and must go." Bosa then said, "My song is loud, but I sing it that way because sometimes my thoughts are quiet and small. I want to be brave, but it's not always how I feel. I need to help the other village, and I will go." Greezo was sad, but also proud, for this was the way of things. He and Lazarus watched them go, singing as they went, their songs growing quieter and quieter. Years passed with Bosa and Simu visiting often, eventually bringing their smaller ones with them. Bosa moved back to the village to take care of Greezo and Lazarus. Winter was coming, and they were too old to go out in the cold. On the last warm night, Greezo looked through a window at the big one named Tico. He was sleeping, as he did more and more. Greezo had watched Tico grow from a small child to the wise father. Greezo sometimes listened when Tico spoke to the villagers and knew his replacement would be not one, but two wise elders. Those two would someday each be replaced by two, doubling the number of wise elders again and again until someday all the villagers would be equally wise. Greezo knew that soon Tico would fall asleep and not wake up. This was not sad to Greezo. Tico had taught the villagers many things. His teachings were like a song the village would remember after he was gone. Greezo also knew one day he and Lazarus would no longer sing their songs, but Bosa and Simu would remember them singing. Then their children would remember, and on and on and on, for this is the way of things.
Seasons come and seasons go. My heart is my heart. Oh, what is Don't right? test me, I know it's don't right. push me, 'cause I'm ready to fight.